with the name.
9, yes, sir.
6 o'clock?
Yeah, I remember now. I was like, God, that's cold. Oh, okay.
I sent to Monday, you have to print it out. So it was on my phone, so I printed it. I always printed it out.
Oh.
Good evening and welcome to the City of Montgomery City Council meeting. We are here to do business this evening, so I ask that all of you please take your phones out and make sure that they are on off or vibrate so that we are not interrupted and that we can hear everything and all the business that is taking place this evening. With that, I'd like to call this to order. It is exactly 6 p.m. We'll begin this invocation this evening with T.J. Wilkerson.
Oh, magnify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. Lord, we come tonight with humble hearts and bowed heads. We come thanking you, Lord, for what you've done in our life. We know, Lord, it is not our deeds, not a commandment that we kept, but it was your grace and mercy that touched us and woke us up this morning. Lord, we come today as a council, as a agenda, as a city, praying for the people of Surfside, Florida. We pray for their recovery. We pray for the families. We pray, Lord, that we come tonight with understanding and wisdom, that we come tonight with listening ears, and that we go away tonight being a part of whatever you have put on our hearts to do. Lord, we thank you for all that you've done in our life. Watch over us and continue to bless us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. All right. We have a number of speaker requests form. Is there anyone that filled out a form that is not here to discuss the food truck issue on downtown? Is there anybody that has anything else? You have something else? All right, I'm going to take, I think you filled one out, so I'll take that out. If you'd like to go ahead and head to the podium, and we'll hear you first. And Jenny, would you please say your name and your address just for the record?
Yes.
Thanks.
My name is Jenny Stewart. I live at 205 King Lane, Good evening. I've been a resident in this town since 1991, and I'd like to list some issues that I just want to have on the record. That's what I'm stating. I don't believe the city focuses on big issues and serious problems, and as a result, many residents have had to hire attorneys to fix problems that should never happen. A sand pit operated without a permit for over 5 years. Nobody from the city bothered to inspect or check it out until it started to cave in on our property. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, TCEQ, report indicates such issues. A canal dug in a subdivision without proper permits. The canal failed and the residents have suffered financial, emotional damage, and many have had to hire attorneys. House trailers are brought onto property without permits. We have a city manhole on our property that has been spilling raw sewage out of it for over 4 years. It has been brought to the attention of the city council numerous times, even on the record at a previous council meeting, but with no response, except after I called the city and told them I filed an official complaint with the TCEQ. 2 people came out and cleaned up what they could and have disinfected them. However, it continues to overflow. It's going into the creek, into Town Creek, and then into Lake Conroe. That's illegal. It's illegal, it's illegal. The sewer line is grossly neglected with no maintenance and infiltration is obvious. I was falsely accused once of photoshopping pictures that I gave to the council. I've been documenting this dilemma for years and I have loads of pictures on my phone, which if anybody wants to go see what's going on, they can go over and look at the sewer itself. The infiltration is obvious, and if you want to know where the infiltration issues stem from, look at the plants that are growing out of the top of one of the sewer lines. Bellevue is a city that has less than 400 people. It does have a water tower, however. Montgomery, I believe, should have one by now. The city needs to loop the town with water. In a drought scenario, a fire off of Lone Star Parkway could not had three fires go through our property that luckily were not in drought times. One of them went through our property, was about to go to the property south of us. The fire department came and stopped it. Why, question, did the city spend $750,000 on 4 acres? Most people don't even know that we spent the money. We haven't finished paying it off yet, but there's other places, if we needed a site for a future building, that we could find for a lot less money in the town. Why do some residents get their water bill credited while others do not? Why do some residents get their water turned back on when there's a mistake in the bill and their water's turned off, but other people do not? There's just a list of things that are going on in this town that are not acceptable to me, and I don't think to anybody else. So, in conclusion, I just wanted this on the record. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Now, the next, I've got quite a few here, and so what we're going to do, since everybody, in the sake of time, I'll pick 3 randomly and ask those 3 to please step up to the podium to speak, since it's all on the same subject matter. So, I will turn this over. And
Do you clarify me? Are we going to hear from everyone that's turning in?
no, just 3, because it's all on the same subject matter, and we don't have to. And there's in the interest of time, we can set a 3-minute boundary and have 3 people speak on the same subject
I'd
matter.
like to hear from everybody. Is that possible, council members? Would you like to hear from everyone? Or just 3? Everyone deserves to be heard, right?
Is it up for debate, Tetra?
It is the decision of council,
Okay.
whether to hear from
How
everyone.
many do we have?
How many? Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 8.
16 minutes.
However, set a time limit.
Sure.
That's what we were just saying.
Yeah.
What if we said 2 minutes each?
2 minutes, we could do that?
There you go.
Two's fine.
Thank you.
Right, then in that case, I'll go in order. What are I received down here? All right, first one, Courtney, is it Widener?
Widener.
Okay, would you please head to the podium and state your name and address for the record?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Can you all hear me okay? Okay.
Speak up if you can, but yeah.
Yes, my name is Courtney Widener. I'm a resident of Conroe, 506 Oak Chase in Woodhaven Forest. And I'm here today to speak on behalf of Bill Clevenger and Texas Twists and Shakes. I am also the owner of Widener Insurance. I've been an established business in Conroe for many years, and I'm also the vice president of the Women's Food Truck Organization. So I got to know Bill pretty well last year when I found out he was starting this business and getting the groundwork going to get his trailer in place in this town. And I just thought it was the best idea. You know, it was catchy. It was something that I knew was going to bring tourism to historic Montgomery, and it was a unique product. All food trucks are unique, and so I'm a big advocate for them. It's kind of the newest kind of craze as far as entrepreneurship goes and being a small business owner. And in the short time that I got to know Bill, I had no doubt that he would be a very successful business owner. Just that he would be able to run this food truck with professionalism and keeping in mind the community and giving people jobs and all of that. His mind and heart was completely in the right place. And as I understand it, he needs to get a special use permit to operate where he wants to be. And I would just like to ask the council to please grant him that. I understand we have to vote on it, but I understand there might be some conflicts with some neighboring businesses possibly, and I just know that his business is so unique that it would not be a confliction with any business in downtown because it's bringing something new and different to Old Montgomery. So I wish Bill the best of luck, and I hope council will consider granting him this permit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Carla Nash. Carla, if you would please. And then on deck after Carla is Bob Stewart. Bob, if you want to go stand behind her, that would be great.
Carla Nash, 26981 Milk Lane, Montgomery. I'm going to read really fast. Hello, my name is Carla Nash. I'm a business owner in the historic district of Montgomery. I'm here tonight to speak in favor of Bill Clevenger's ice cream truck in downtown Montgomery. I must admit that I'm an educated individual, but for the life of me, I can't get a grasp on what's going on here. I do disagree with the approach of having a big group of people storming City Hall. to scream for ice cream, but I also disagree with putting roadblocks in the way of small business in our community. I know that originally, before Bill bought the lot, he researched allowable uses. I know that he followed the necessary steps to open a business in Montgomery. I know that the concept was approved by planning and zoning. From there, the waters get very muddy for me. I read the letter written by Caleb Villarreal to Bill Clevenger, and it was not clear to me what the problem was. I know there is an extra layer of rules regarding the historic district. I tried to read the city code where an ice cream truck was specifically prohibited, but I came up empty-handed. I want to understand if this ice cream truck is in violation of the current city code that P&Z was unaware of, or if tonight is about rewriting the city code to either allow or prohibit this type of business. What I really hope is that this is not a personal vendetta against someone who ran for mayor in the last election. I want to thank you, city council members, for your volunteer time and effort to serve the city. But I also hope you constantly remember that you are here to serve in the best interests of all residents of the city. As a business owner, I would love to have an ice cream truck in downtown Montgomery. I think it would encourage people to walk around and enjoy our beautiful little town. I think Bill and his wife are good people who will in turn employ good people. I often visit other small towns and see a lovely mix of food trucks and brick and mortar shops done tastefully. Why would Montgomery be any different? I hope that each of you vote either to change whatever is in the city code that prevents allowing this small business, or you vote to stand by P&Z's decision. And remember what TJ said about opening your ears.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob, if you could please approach, and the next on deck would be Brandy Chisenberry. I hope I said that correctly. If you wouldn't mind. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Bob Stewart at 205 Kings Lane. Small towns talk, and some of the stuff I've heard is concern from members of council about food trucks and Bill's being one, but also the coffee one, being a detriment to the kind of historic nature of Montgomery, and in particular maybe the business district of Montgomery. So the reality is our business district is not historic. It's sad to say that, but it's true. It burned to the ground decades ago, leaving us one building, the brick building that it was the state bank. 25 years ago, the city headed down a path and a group of citizens got zoning passed. So it was a great first step in protecting our city. A group of citizens followed that up and attempted to get architectural controls passed so that we could force developers to build structures that fit the historic nature of our city. That went nowhere. And the result is we have developers that come in, and the vast majority of them don't look at Montgomery as a historically significant city like we do. They just look at it as a place to build a business. And so we ended up with the Brookshire Brookshire Market with this beautiful tobacco barn sitting out in front of it. Spectacular. And then we ended up with metal buildings right on Main Street or Eva with facades put on the front of them to make it look like there's some kind of historic old saloon or something. We ended up with shacks that sell donuts. Then we ended up with a donut shop that's the size of an aircraft carrier that blocks the view of one of the most historic buildings down there.
Mr. Stewart, I wanted to ask you.
So the reality is we don't have a historic district. We do have a historic town.
Mr. Stewart, your time is up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
So Bill, I hope you get your ice cream.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Randy is up, and then Juanita Simmons, please, on deck.
Thanks for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. If you spent time speaking, my name is Brandy Christenberry.
Your address?
I'm at 18913 Bethel Road. If you spent time speaking with your constituents or been keeping up with recent societal trends, I'm sure you're aware of the rapidly growing interest in small town traditional values and community-supported communities. instead of big business or corporation-supported communities. We're the owners of Agape Farms, and although we're technically outside the city limits, we very proudly call Montgomery our home. We take every opportunity we can to tell visitors to our farm all the wonderful things about that our small town has to offer. We talk about antiquing, boutiquing, the sip and stroll, the wineries, the unique eats and treats, the small town vibe, and the local businesses and all the owners and all the things their little city purchases here are gonna go to support. We're fully invested in this beautiful town's growth, and most importantly, its people. I'm here to tell you the trend I mentioned earlier is real. The growing community of small business owners, farmers, ranchers, growers of things, harvesters of things, craftsmen and craftswomen, artisans and the like, who we've personally met and developed relationships with in the last 2 years has been absolutely overwhelming. But even more shocking, it's the community and the support and encouragement for these small business owners that's been really overwhelming. The people themselves are excited about these communities, even if they aren't necessarily part of these communities right now. So this awesome movement towards this old-timey community comes together and supports each other like the good old days kind of vibe is what we have here, and I want it to stay that way. I think these food trucks, ice cream, coffee trailers, small businesses, no matter the packaging, are part of our community, and they only enhance our town. They create jobs for other young residents, and they carry products that support other local businesses.
Thank you, ma'am. Your time is up. We appreciate you coming. And
They reflect the
Juanita,
type
you're
of
up next.
community I believe our community really wants to be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm going to try to read this. I think it's Garrett Murphy. Okay. If you wouldn't mind just coming up on deck, that'd be great. Yes,
My
ma'am.
name's Wendy Simmons, and I live at 21910 Twin Creeks Road, which is off of Womack Cemetery back here. First off, I have been in Montgomery now for 3 years. I've retired. This is the city I want to live in. And I have traveled all over the world. I have been in little towns just like Montgomery, from Australia to London to Ireland, and they all have food trucks. Some of the most interesting towns, antique, old, historic, have food trucks. And some of the best food that you can get out there doesn't always come from a fancy restaurant. It comes from food trucks. Try it. So I support the food truck issue. I do not believe in any way that it will hurt the city of Montgomery. I think it will only help it. And I think that the city council, first off, I have attempted numerous times in the last year to get the attention of some of the city council people. I have sent emails, I have made phone calls, and requested someone call me back. And I have gotten this much, big zero response. So I hope that the city sees what's happening here. These people here today are supporting the food trucks, most of them. I haven't heard from anyone that's not. And I hope you hear them. And that you don't have to call me back, but just listen to the people, because I think there's nothing wrong with food trucks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Garrett Murphy, and on deck is Cade Jenkins.
Hi guys, my name is Garrett. It's my first time to do anything like this. I came in support of the bill. I'm the manager at Tony's Deli. Either you have it or not. First time I met Bill, he came and introduced sweet tea and root beer. Awesome product, but the best thing was the customer service. Great guy, great businessman, everything. So I have no doubt that the food truck will be successful. I thought about it on the way here to say Montgomery needs a milkshake. There's no milkshake anywhere. You got Whataburger, McDonald's, nothing. I love milkshakes, ice cream, everything. But I've been staring at the trailer for a long time. It's beautiful. Been ready for it to open. He actually lives across from my mother-in-law, so we're very close and very, very dry. We just love to see this business open. And if there's a special permit, I just am one to just vote that it gets passed. And
Can I get your address, please, for the
Yeah,
record?
I'm
Sorry.
15767 Beach Nut Drive.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then, last but not least, Catherine Jenkins. Sorry, y'all are right there together.
Hi, I'm Kate Jenkins. I live at 14809 Lake Mount Pleasant Road, Montgomery, Texas. I've lived here for 27 years. I didn't move here. I didn't retire here. I grew up here. I went to all the school districts here in Montgomery. This is my hometown. I've seen it through all the changes. Over the past 10 years, my wife and I both have worked as youth pastors in the area, as worship pastors in the area, as outreach pastors in the area. We moved into Lake Conroe Village to do ministry in the area because we believe in community and we believe in the potential that is in this city. We also have adopted our daughter through foster care, who we met at a youth home in Conroe. We've spent the last years of our life just giving, because that's who we are and that's who we're always going to be. We opened this coffee trailer because we want to give to this city, because we believe that we can bring something that is unique, that is different, and most of all, that's excellent. We think that we can do it in a trailer, and we think that we can do it with wheels. Sorry. So in our time operating, we've been open for 2 weeks. I've had to borrow my dad's truck to bring our trailer to the lot and back home every single day. We were under the impression, not by anybody's fault but our own, but that we would be able to leave it. We now know that that's not true. We don't have a ton of money. Again, our past jobs have not allowed us to have an influx of money. We can't afford brick and mortar. We can afford the trailer that we have to try to do this, and we love Historic Montgomery. We love what it stands for. We love that people can walk around and enjoy all this, and we would really love to be able to build something there. And in our time, we've brought people from Huntsville. We've had people come from Spring. We had an NFL quarterback who came because he heard about our coffee trailer. And if I had $1 for every customer that came and looked around and said, hey, I had no idea that this downtown was so great, then we could maybe afford a brick and mortar. But we can't. But we do bring business and we do bring something to this community.
Thank you. Now Ms. Jenkins.
Hi, I'm Catherine Jenkins, but I go by Katie, so most of you know me by that. I live at 14809 Lake Mount Pleasant Road in Montgomery. I grew up in Conroe, but I also moved to Montgomery as late high school, college years. So I consider this my home, and I love it very deeply. And we've grown up going in the downtown Montgomery area. My mom had an antique spot in one of the antique shops when I was growing up, so it's always been a part of my life. And then I also previously owned a children's consignment store in downtown Montgomery, which many people don't know, because I don't really share it a lot because I was only open a year because I didn't get enough business there. So unfortunately, we've seen downtown Montgomery as kind of a dying area. I hate to say, because there's so many great people there and so many great shops. And so I want to see it flourish. I want to see people coming from other places. Like Kate said, we had people coming from many other towns. We even had people come the other day from Margaritaville, but they were visiting there from a different town. They didn't live in Montgomery, and they drove past 5 coffee shops to come to our coffee shop because they saw us on the internet and it looked like a place they wanted to visit. So we're bringing in people to the downtown area, and people are visiting us and then going and shopping around. So we're bringing the city money, and we want to follow the rules. So if it's that we need to add skirting or something, if it's about the looks, I don't know what it's about, because it seems like it's kind of about drama, and I hate that because I want everybody to get along. So when you're voting on the number 6 on the agenda, it feels like it's red tape to add that we have to have a special use permit after we've already gone through all these things to get licensed and be open, and now we have to have a special use permit. And it feels like, what is the special use permit? Is it that we can only be there twice a month? Is it that we can only be there on Saturdays? And we want to be there all the time. So thank you.
And just to be clear, did you throw one out?
I actually submitted it online to Susan.
Oh, okay, all right, go ahead. Sorry, it was not on my paper. First and last name and address.
My name is Bill Clevenger, 388 Berkeley Drive, Montgomery, Texas. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody for braving our wonderful thunderstorms here in Texas and coming out and support and attend this meeting this evening. I'm going to take my 2 minutes and talk to you a little bit. I think everybody knows why we're all here. I know I get to speak when we get to that particular agenda item, but I want to come at it from a different standpoint. I turned 44 on Friday. Man, it's halfway to 88. That's crazy. I freaked my son out the other day when I told him when he turned 15 and he's halfway to 30. He's like, Dad, what? We have so many issues going on in the world today. You know, when you turn on the news, you see this. Turn on the news and somebody loses their life. We're a community that's giving. I've never seen a community that is so giving that we have today. And yet, here we are, we're trying to cultivate a sense of the word community. I did run for mayor, and I lost, and I'm proud of it. It's the fact that I went out and my whole stance was unity and coming together. It doesn't matter who we are, where we came from, who we represent, what religion we are. It doesn't matter. Right now, we're all in this little community, and we're all trying. We all have our own issues behind those closed doors. My wife and I, son, and 5 other young individuals have been anticipating in opening up this ice cream stand. And, you know, as Ms. Stewart said, you know, there's issues here. We know there's issues. There's infrastructure issues. There's everything. But folks, there's so much more importance going on that I don't think we need
Mr. Clevenger, your time is up.
or an ice cream truck and bringing smiles to this community shouldn't even be on it. There's way more in life than that.
Thank you. It's not whether or not the ice cream business is started, but whether or not they follow the rules. So we'll go ahead and get on with the consent agenda. Item number 1 on your agenda, matters related to the approval of the June 22nd, 2021 regular meeting minutes. And item number 2, consideration of possible action on an encroachment agreement with Haza Foods, which is Wendy's. Council, you can take these individually or together. What is your pleasure?
I make a motion, we take them individually.
Second.
All right, it is the second. We take it individually. Go right ahead.
You want to discuss? I'm fine with, let's put approve. I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda, or the regular meeting minutes from June 22nd, 2021.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that we accept the regular meeting minutes from June 22, 2021. This motion is debatable, amendable, and requires majority vote. It's open for discussion. All those in favor of approving the regular meeting minutes from June 22nd, 2021, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and we will accept the regular meeting minutes from June 22nd to 2021. Item number 2 on your agenda, consideration and possible action on an encroachment agreement with Haza Foods, Wendy's.
This is also on the consent agenda, but it's been coming out. The developer of the new Wendy's restaurant that was planned to be built in the city is requesting an encroachment agreement, which is attached, to locate the proposed monument sign and the light poles within the existing city utility easement on the site. The construction plans, show the proposed items will be linear, but not in conflict with the existing water and wastewater lines that run through that area. The agreement will release the city from responsibility for damages to those proposed items, that might result in the city having to do necessary work in the utility easement to repair or improve the utility lines. Approval of this agreement does not remove Haza Foods from being required to get all necessary permits for operation in this location, including a permit for the proposed monument signs that they identified. We have received a signed copy of the encroachment agreement from Haza Foods. The city's engineer memo on this item was prepared for your review. And was claimed to be on meetings tonight with the crowd here. I just see it here.
Are these encroachments on this similar to the ones that we discussed for the rest of that shopping center a couple of weeks ago or last month? Are they in line with those? Are we going to have like a jagged approach across that whole strip center?
Well, they're not in line with them because they're on the opposite side of the road and down the street, so they won't line up there.
Right.
And it's like,
I guess I meant feet from the road. Like, are they a similar or very close to similar distance from the road besides, I mean, we're making a variance. It's a variance request, basically.
well, they're generally similar in the sense that they overlap the utility easement, but they're on the opposite side of the road. Utility, the roads aren't always entirely symmetrical.
Right.
The easements on both sides, so I don't know the specifics of how many feet exactly this one is versus the other. The engineer may have to know that information.
Can you look this?
To answer your question,
Oh,
we have a black Impala that's out here blocking when the police cars in.
I'm sorry, what kind of car is it?
Black Impala.
Black Impala. If you've got a license plate number, that would be great. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
To answer your question, so next door to this, so Wendy's is on the same side of the street as the Care Now facility, Christian Brothers. So,
Chris, would you mind introducing yourself? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm Chris Rosowski with WGA Engineers, the city engineer for the city. So the Christian Brothers had a variance for this encroachment agreement as well as the Procore building next door, so this does fall line. Do I have exact distances? No, but it's all the same easement with the same utilities for the neighborhood.
Just for continuity, I just didn't want to have one sign way up front and one at the back, and we're just doing a checkerboard pattern all along 105.
From what I remember, all of the signs are placed on closer to the building versus closer to the street, just based on the utilities there.
Great, thank you.
Committee, I'd like to make a motion to approve the encroachment agreement for Haza Foods.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that we accept approve the encroachment agreement for Haza Foods. This motion is debatable, amendable, and requires majority vote. It is now open for discussion. All those in favor of accepting the encroachment agreement with Haza Foods, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and we will accept the encroachment agreement with Haza Foods. Consideration and possible action. Next item on your agenda is number 3. Discuss and consider candidates to be considered for place 2, City of Montgomery Planning and Zoning Commission for the unexpired term expiring October 1st, 2022.
The council may remember on June 8th, earlier this year, City Council accepted the resignation of Carrie May from the Planning and Zoning Commission, place number 2. The position was provided open for applications through July 7th. There have been 3 applicants for the position. Their applications have been provided to you. The order they're in the book or in the order they were received here at City Hall. The person who would be appointed would replace Ms. May and would serve the remainder of the uncompleted term, which runs through October 1, 2022. The City Council may choose to accept one of these applicants or may choose to continue advertising for additional applicants at its discretion.
When do you have to have this filled by, Richard, the decision?
I'm sorry?
When do you have this position filled by?
That's up to council. Technically, you don't have to fill it at all. However, then the Planning and Zoning Commission would run 1 member short.
Gotcha.
So, that's entirely up to the discretion of council. As I said, you could fill it tonight, you could hold it over for a future meeting.
Being one man down on a small board that hurts last week, there was a cancellation due to
Yes, because we're operating with just 4 out of 5 positions. We had one person who had a family, or both had a family conflict, one at the last moment, which meant that only 2 were attended, so therefore that continued to stay.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Bill Simpson to that position.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we can accept Bill Simpson on that position. This motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. It is open for discussion. I'm sorry? Byron seconded.
Well, I'm thinking, as, nothing against the 3 candidates we have right now, but we only have 3. We now have a packed house of people. There may be some more folks in here that may be interested in applying for it. I don't see why we can't maybe push this off till next meeting. That's what I prefer to do.
Well, we've already had it open for a month, is that correct? How long was the application process?
We've had it open for a month. It's been a little longer than that since the zoning was unable to start.
Okay. I didn't see very much advertising about it, that's all. I know we put some inserts in the water bills, is that right?
We did. We also put it on the website and we put it out on the electronic side, which is our normal process.
Okay, I got you. I would prefer to wait till next meeting, but of course I'm with the will of the rest of my members here, my council.
Well, there's a motion on the floor.
Council, you ready for the question?
Yes.
All those in favor of accepting Bill Simpson for the Planning and Zoning Commission for the unexpired term expiring October 1st, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
The ayes have it, the motion carries. We will accept the nomination of Bill Simpson for the Planning and Zoning Commission in the expired term expiring October 1st, 2022. Yes, he is. Mr. Simpson, would you please stand up and say hello? Thank you.
I know. I know.
Thank you, sir.
I just had to see him.
Next item of business on your agenda is item number 4. Consideration of possible action regarding adoption of the following ordinance. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Montgomery, Texas, altering the prima facie speed limits established for the vehicles under the provisions of sections 545.356 and 545.353 of the Texas Transportation Code on certain streets and highways or parts thereof within the corporate limits of the City of Montgomery as set out in this ordinance, to wit, establishing a construction speed zone on SH 105 from 0.108 miles west of FM 2854 to Stewart Creek Road, a distance of approximately 0.262 miles, to reduce the speed limit to 45 miles per hour. Authorizing the installation of signage in accordance with the ordinance, providing for the alteration of the prima facie speed limit of SH 105 to increase to 55 miles per hour upon completion of construction, providing a penalty not to exceed $400 for the violation of this ordinance, providing a repeal clause, a severability clause, and an effective date.
It's a mouthful.
It is.
Yeah. The Texas Department of Transportation has requested the City of Montgomery take action to reduce the speed limit on State Highway 105 in the city during upcoming construction. Following construction, the speed limit will return to the previous speed limit in those areas. Basically speaking, the area of construction will run from around 2854 to Conroe, right around I-45. Obviously, all of that is not in the City of Montgomery. Portion from 2054 to the city boundary and towards Conroe on the east is the area that we're talking about. Part of that area described, if you look at the map that's providing you information, is already at 45 miles per hour. The part drawn in red is the area that's 55 miles an hour, and it would be reduced for the construction zone to 45 miles an hour.
I don't have any questions about it. I mean, I agree, obviously, construction zone, we should be slower. Did I move to adopt the ordinance after the request of TxDOT?
I second.
It has been seconded that we accept the ordinance per the request of TxDOT. This motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. It is open for discussion.
This is the same one that they're doing the work, like you say, all the way from Montgomery to Conroe, going to 45?
Yes, sir. Essentially, it's one very large project. Much of it falls within the city of Conroe. They have taken action on a similar ordinance for the areas within the city of Conroe, and we've been asked to take that same action for the parts of the city of Montgomery.
Just for clarification, like if we choose not to do this, which doesn't sound like we're doing, we're literally talking about a quarter of a mile stretch from east of 2854 to Stewart Creek.
Right.
That would be 55, then to swap it back to 45 as soon as it hits Conroe's because they're taking action on the same thing. So we're talking about a quarter of a mile.
Right. You're talking about doing that with the construction zones.
Yeah.
So you're right. It is just very logical to follow the process through.
Yeah.
And that prima facie speed, that's just the proposed speed limit, right? The definition of it? Well, Chris?
Right, that's
Okay,
it's part of the language that you put in there, is legally correct.
okay.
Council, you ready for the question?
Yes.
All those in favor of adopting the ordinance at the request of TxDOT, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and we will accept the ordinance per TxDOT recommendation.
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
Richard, on those section 545, 356, and 545, 353, the city can also go to them and propose the speed limit, can't you? And it's up to them to reject it afterwards if they don't think it's necessary.
Isn't that an Allen question? Because those are laws that they're.
Well, you can request it, yes, that they don't have to take any action on your request.
Yeah, but in those sections, it states that the city can imply that. So if we want to take that same thing and apply it on 1097 from Mia-Lago down to 149 and reduce the speed limit with the city, and if the state don't think it's necessary, they can come back and change it, right?
Well,
According if you read those deals to the state of Texas.
where they control the roadway, I mean, they control the signage.
I must have misunderstood it. Okay.
All right, number 5 on your agenda, consideration and possible action. Consideration and possible action regarding adoption of the following ordinance. An ordinance altering the prima facie speed limits established for vehicles under the provisions of 545.356 Texas Transportation Code upon the basis of an engineering and traffic investigation upon certain streets and highways of parts thereof within the corporate limits of the city of Montgomery, as set out in the ordinance, and providing a penalty of a fine not to exceed $200 for the violation of this ordinance.
This is another case where Texas Department of Transportation has requested the city of Montgomery to take action to reduce the speed limit on a portion of FM 149 of the city. In this case, this would be a permanent change. It's not construction specific. The attachments include correspondence from TxDOT on this item, a recommended ordinance supplied by TxDOT with a comparison to the current ordinance of the city engineer, and an excerpt map showing the affected area in red. I contacted Montgomery Independent School District for their comments related to this matter, as it's specific to the school zone, and they were in support of this matter. So it's with that staff recommends consider this.
And this is just a school zone change, not an actual all the time speed limit change, correct?
Correct.
I move that we adopt the ordinance at the request of TxDOT.
I'll second.
It's a motion second that we adopt the ordinance at the request of TxDOT. This motion is debatable, amendable, and requires majority vote. It's open for discussion. All those in favor of adopting the ordinance per TxDOT, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and we will adopt the ordinance per TxDOT. Item number 6 on your agenda, consideration of possible action. Consideration of possible action regarding adoption of the following ordinance. An ordinance by the City Council of the City of Montgomery, Texas, amending City Ordinance Number 1996-3, dated June 4th, 1996, by amending Chapter 64, Peddlers, Solicitors, and Vendors of the City Code of Ordinances, providing for a penalty for a violation of this ordinance, repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict therewith, providing a saving and severability clauses, providing a Texas Open Meetings Act clause, and providing an effective date after publication. Mr. Goldger, I think you said that you wanted to speak on this matter. You're more than welcome to go to the podium, and we'll start with you. And then Richard and Alan after.
So again, my name is Bill Clevenger. I own Texas Twists and Shakes. I put a little chronological thing in order as this agenda item has come up, really out of the blue, but here we go. I purchased the lot at 404 Caroline Street on August 11th, 2020. Very vocal, very outspoken. I met with different powers to be, asked the process, worked with city officials, everything, and I had to go to planning and zoning. Went to the planning and zoning meeting. Granted, everything was in pandemic mode, so we did it through Zoom. That meeting was on early November 2020. They saw the design of the trailer. Mr. Cortdale was very instrumental in helping me navigate my way. Kudos to him. He's been a great help. Met with Mr. Tram along the way. Nothing but encouragement through it out. But I got my approval. He were back, and some of the board members of P&Z said they loved the design of the trailer. It brought a flair, it represented Texas, it was very clean, and they loved it, and I got the approval. The second approval that we came to was in November 2020 with the City Council. We talked about the platting of it because under the current, it was about the development of the property, and we talked about all the different things that I wasn't constructing. I wasn't changing the aspect of the property itself, and everybody, questions back and forth. I explained very fully what we were doing, the intentions, everything, and we got that approval. Up until that point, nobody at an extreme cap, not the support that I have right here this evening for it. The town didn't receive any of this magnitude of anything against it. January 2021, I moved the trailer in. It wasn't in its current state, but I moved it in, and fanfare, the swirl started, all positive. Everybody wanted to know, when's Texas Twist and Shake's going to open? April 28th, and in between January 2021 and April 28th, 2021, numerous meetings with city officials, talked about different things. We were working on this, working on that, but we were doing. April 28th, the trailer moves in and it gets positioned to where it was. Granted, everybody said, Bill, you're in the forefront of everything. We don't really truly have the ordinance. You're out front, but we like it. Mr. Tran, you and I, we talked about lots of different things. You explained how positive it was for the economy, that you're a numbers guy, sales. This is what brings revenue to the city. You liked it, and we keep moving forward. We talked about water, we talked about sewer, but everything hinged on what does the county want done? Because ultimately, in the end, you have to go to the county, you get the county's approval, and then you bring it back to the city, and you apply for your motor vendor's permit. So, trailer's positioned at April 28th. It's set, more swirl, positive, everybody's going on. As some elected official said, hey, I didn't see anybody complaining about it. Everybody's wondering, when are we going to have ice cream? So on May 18th, 2021, I had a 50-minute long meeting with the city administrator, the assistant city administrator, and city secretary. We talked about everything. P&Z, city council, water, sewer, the county. What's the county want to do? What's your plans for this? What's your plans for that? I gave them answers, everything, all right down the line. I would like to just ask, do y'all recall that meeting on May 18th?
I don't remember the date.
Dave, I remember us sitting in the
I remember we talked to that, so.
Okay, great. And after I explained everything, gave them detailed information on how we were going to do it, that I had gotten followed what the county wanted done. I proved to them how we were going to do it, what we needed to do. We got the electric permit. Now, granted, I admit we didn't pull the exact full permit for the electric from to the other thing. And Mr. Corkdale reminded me of that. We talked about that on July 2nd for 19 minutes. And I was in the process of turning in my water sample, which was required by the county, and I passed. But when I left that meeting on May 18th, 2021, and if anybody, entrepreneurial, business owner, small business, this and that, you might not be able to run directly to a city council member or this or that. You go through the proper channels and you work with the employees of the city. It's just standard, right? And I worked hand in hand with these folks. We talked about, like I said, everything in detail. How we're going to do it, this and that. Just comply with the county, because if you comply with the county, you will, then you meet the city standards. And again, from November till, let's say June 30th, nothing has been come out. Not one thing has said, Bill, you're doing this wrong. You didn't do this right. When I provided the information, you met the county codes. And if you recall, when I went down through the water and sewer, you asked me, hey, are you serving water? And I said, no, we're not serving any water. I procured water from Cozy Grade through food grade hose. And you, Mr. Chairman, said, so what we have here is you're just washing hands and equipment.
And also presupposed that it was not a permanent hookup.
Correct.
That it was only, you were potentially washing items that the county.
That the county approved of, and you said, basically it all came back to what's the county say, because if the county says it, then the city's for it, because we admitted that the city wasn't there yet. It didn't happen. I see some heads shaking, and I'm going to voice this all out, is the fact that this meeting was documented because I recorded it. And I can do that under my law, under the law in the state of Texas. So, I recorded that meeting, and we went down through every item, through everything, and at the end of the moment, I think Mr. Corknell said, well, let's bring in City Secretary Susan Hensley. She's the one that handles all the mobile food vendor permits. She comes in, we talk about everything again. She's like, all you have to do is bring in your application for a mobile food vendor permit and your city approval, and we will sign it. It usually could take up to 10 days, but we're really good about it, and I can probably catch him and we'll get it done for 24 hours, and we'll even laminate for it, and you will be on your way because you're all good to go. So, I worked on the electric, because I went back and forth with Mr. McCorkle, I'm sure you're going to testify to this fact between energy and this, it was, what a mess. Systems weren't matching up. I mean, I'm talking to ladies over in Louisiana. It was a mess, but we got through it. We got the line. Everything's been done by approved city contractors, everything. And I've done, and everything that was asked of me, I did. And when we got to the water and sewer issue, and we crossed that bridge, because ultimately it still came back to the county. And that's what you gentlemen voiced to me, is like, what does the county say? And I went and did what the county wanted, because that's what the town hangs its hat on. And I did it. So as I got through everything, on July 8th, I got approved by the county. Okay, Friday I didn't run in. It was my birthday, I was working, I'm out hustling root beer and everything else. Because we all work, right? So I spent the evening at Pizza Shack. Everybody loves Pizza Shack. That's where we celebrated my birthday, Friday night. Saturday we did a couple things. And then Saturday, my wife goes to the mailbox and I receive this certified letter stating that, and it's from city council, or the city's council attorney, dated July 8th, says, to my attention, bill regarding Texas Twist and Shakes Ice Cream Mobile Food trailer located in the historic downtown district of the historic district. Dear Mr. Clevenger, please be advised that this firm represents the city of Montgomery, Texas. As such, I request all future correspondence to be directed to the undersigned. Let me stop right there. So, now let me finish. Let me keep going. The purpose of this correspondence is to inform you the trailer located in the historic district is in current violation of the Code of Ordinances of the City Code, and then in parentheses, it says City Code. What City Code? There is no City Code. How could it be in violation? The whole time from November, every month, straightforward, in and out, up and down, conversation after conversation, meeting after meeting, not one person said I was in violation of it. Yet, in this letter, there's no city code to say I'm in violation. As you know, on about November 3rd, 2020, November 10th, 2020, the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council of the city respectfully approved a variance request for plating requirements and exterior modifications to allow you to operate the trailer in the historic district. Unfortunately, through no fault of your own, the approval of this variance request does not permit you to operate the trailer in the historic district. I purchased a piece of property in the historic district and was very open about what I wanted to do from day one. Although you relied on the approval of the variance request to operate the trailer in the historic district, the continued operation is no longer permissible under city code. What city code? Nobody knows. There is no city code. The city relies primarily upon the general rule that the municipality cannot be stopped in the exercises of its governmental functions. See City versus White, Settlement versus Superwash, and they reference the court case, right? Yeah, okay, we referenced that. But go back to the whole thing in the letter. What city code have I violated in almost 9 months? 0. Moreover, the interest of an individual must at times yield to the public interest, and in which the responsibility for public policy must rest on decisions officially authorized by the government's representatives, rather than on the mistakes committed by its agents. What mistakes were committed? Now, Katie, where are you at? I know you had mentioned about the fact of drawing, and it's all about drawing. Because we're going to sit here, and you're probably going to hear different things that maybe a city official made a mistake. They reference a table that most don't even know about. Even most elected officials don't even know about. And they're going to try to figure out a way to make one poor guy fall on the sword. And that's wrong. He didn't make a mistake. He went through the proper process. His superiors even agreed with it. And it's recorded right there. Remember what I said in that meeting. I got the all clear. You're good to go. All you need to do is bring us your approval from the county, and you're good to go. Fill out that mobile vendor permit, submit your $50, and I'll even laminate for you, and you'll go out and you'll be good. In this case, because the operation of the trailer is not specifically permitted in the table of permitted uses or special uses, I'm selling ice cream. Not building anything, not doing anything different. And in the table, it says ice cream. It doesn't say anything about referencing whether it's a brick and mortar or it's a trailer, because I'm ahead of the curve. And we even talked in one of the Zoom meetings saying, I want to do it right because we all know we're going to be doing this. Mr. Tran, you said at the meeting on May 18th, Bill, we want to make sure we get this right, because if we get it right the first time, more will come, and it'll bring revenue to the city, and that's what the city needs. So, in this case, because the operation of the trailer is not specifically permitted to be in the table of uses, you must obtain a special use permit to continue to operate the trailer in the historic district. Well, as Mr. Porkendale shared with me on July 2nd, because I just asked him, pretty much formed a relationship, pretty open. And I said, Mr. McCorkindale, you know, you expressed to me about the election bill, you know, give the approval. And by the way, those 2 holes are there, Doug. And I think my electrician short of the weather today, he pulled the permit today, and we'll get that inspection done. And easy enough. But I said to him, I said, listen, level with me. Tell me what's the next bullet coming at me. Because I need to know, because, you know, I'm in business. This is going on. Let's get through it. He said, well, I can tell you this much. Bill, they're going to try to exercise something, and they just don't want you to open up this ice cream truck. I said, what do you, I mean, fill me in, man. And we talked about, he's like, listen, we got in, he even referenced the Romans going down through Africa. And when the Romans were getting handed their rear ends, they decided, we'll scorch it all, right? And that's the term that he used, that we're going to scorch Montgomery and ruin it for everybody, just so you don't get to operate, open up that ice cream stand. I followed everything. We might have changed a little bit along the line, but that was always communicated through the city administrator, the assistant city administrator, and everything, and it's documented. And those are, I mean, not once did they say, whoa, you can't do that. What's the county say? And I said, the county states this. You know, are you going to keep a law? Yes. Are you going to do this? Yes. Everything. Do. And I go back to the May 18th meeting. May 18th, not that long ago. All good, clear, done. Bring us this permit. You're good to go. So, here we go. And then it says, further city code ultimately requires city council to grant a special use permit for special use not expressly permitted under chapter 98. This is the first time anybody's heard about special use. In fact, special use isn't even in effect right now, because that is what they're going to vote on right now, is a special use. But nobody told me I needed a special use. Not all this time did they need this. Because as this ice cream stand became a reality, and as it got ready to, I mean, within weeks of opening up, now it's, oh, hold on, this isn't good. But, like I said, and we all agree through Zoom meetings, and conversations, and everything that's been documented all along the line, Bill, you're out in front. Well, what's wrong with that? I've told everybody, listen, I want to make it very clean. I want to make it very crisp. I want to be a compliment to the city. And people have come out in droves, and even this evening have said, we want this. This is what's going to create a buzz in this community, build a sense of this community. And here we are. And back to what I said originally in my first 2 minutes, there's so many pressing issues that this city faces that we're going to hold on and try to stop an ice cream stand. Something as Marathon Texan as it is anything, to have an ice cream cone in the historic district coming out of an establishment that has 5 kids, 4 of them. This is their very first job. And now I got to sit here and tell these kids, one is having open heart surgery tomorrow at ripe old age of 17. And you talk about something that's tugs on you. And this kid stayed on me for months. I was in Pennsylvania, and this number calls me. I'm like, and he says, hey, Bill, this is Ashton. He goes, man, I want to come to work. I want to do this. And I said, I'll get to you. And, you know, we're going a million miles an hour every day, and I forget it. He called back a couple weeks. You didn't forget me, Mr. Clevenger. I said, Ashton, no, buddy. And then my wife and I just decided, listen, we're going to hire him just on persistence alone. Because, wow, in today's world, finding a young kid that wants to work is amazing. And, you know, and he came today. I mean, tomorrow he's got to be at 6 a.m. He's having open heart surgery. But he came, he's like, when do you think we're going to open up, Mr. Clevenger? I said, man, hopefully soon. I said, we'll we'll get it done. And I said, regardless if we don't, but we will. I said, I'm hiring you for something because you got that much drive in you, and that's impressive. But let's finish the letter here. So please be aware, upon receipt of the correspondence, continued operation of the trailer in the historic district may be subject to violations, penalties described in Chapter 98 of the City Code. And again, there's no city code. There's nothing on the books. All this time, nobody has said you're in violation of anything. Keep going. You're good. When are we going to get ice cream? Well, here we are. And so the city sincerely apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause. Nonetheless, the city must continue to exercise its governmental functions through the continued enforcement of city code. And remember, there's no city code. Thank you in advance for your cooperation. I look forward to hearing from you soon. So, come Saturday, man, floored. My wife and I are sitting there. We've invested over $200,000. I didn't hit the Texas lottery, and I didn't hit the Mega Millions. We work as hard as we possibly can for every dollar we make. And now you're going to floored. So, you know, I'm meeting with people. I'm trying to figure everything out. Here I go. Monday, I'm going a million miles an hour, trying to figure out how do I save our livelihood. How do I, it's still mind-boggling. And the drama is spinning. You hear this, you hear that. I mean, we live in a small town. You're going to hear all kinds of things. But here's the truth. I didn't violate anything. I kept going through, and again, met with 3 of the city officials, the city administrator. Talk it out right there, just short of the council. I says, man, you're good to go. And so what do? You have to hire a legal counsel. So I hired an attorney. I'm with her. My wife and I were talking to her last night at 10:30 at night. And she's, puts everything. And she emails you this morning, for an email that, notice the email, hey, here it is, notice, blah, 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 send it, Mr. Verrier, right? Am I pronouncing that right? Yeah. Very good, okay, sorry. And it, it discusses it, and the letter basically, forgive me. I got it. There it is. Anyway, long story short, the city received an email from our attorney, and she pointed out the fact that, I know the city's going to go on and begin to say they have immunity to do this, but they don't have full immunity, and it's not absolute. She referenced an actual state case in that. And, the news has been out here. When you get home, you can look at ABC 13. She came and did a great interview, and she was baffled by the whole thing. And I think everyone's truly baffled because it's been on social media, and granted that creates drama as well. But it also points out, it brings to the heart of the situation what in the world is wrong with ice cream in the store district. Just because 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe 6 people come out and say, oh, this is atrocious. We can't have this. But just on the mere fact that these folks took time out of their day, their night, their lives, right here, right now, in support of us. Heck, Strange said, I can't wait to have ice cream. Everybody has said they wanted this ice cream. And I have followed the laws that were out there and set in place, and at no fault of my own, they want to take that all away from me and my $200,000 and some investment. Now, my question is to every single one of you, if this can happen to me, who's next? Where does this go? It sets a precedent of where it can be. But I do want to share another letter of support from Whitley Vineyards. This family's been in the Montgomery area since 1991. We have Whitley Vineyards, and they're some of the most giving, fair people that Montgomery speak of. And you can pass it down. I'm sure you all can share and read that. But in closing, I heard through the grapevine today that, well, Mr. Clevenger did not apply for his mobile food vendor's permit. That's right, I didn't get the approval from the county yet. I did get the approval from the county on July 8th. Got the curveball sent on me on the 10th. Well, here I am right here, right now. And here's my application filled out, and I got a check for it. And so I ask that the city council approve this right now, right here, based upon this. And let's not listen, nobody likes lawsuits. And I'm not sitting here threatening, I'm not sitting here, but man, a letter like this leaves no one but a choice to defend what they can have. And I didn't do anything wrong, and I followed the powers that be to my left, do everything that they wanted me to do. So here's my application. I'll fill out the check right now in front of everybody, and everybody that's live streaming, you can go it themselves. Approve my application. She said it'd be 24 hours if you could get this person to sign it right now. Put it all here, right now. Here it is. We can settle it right now, and let's get on with the fact that we have an ice cream in historic Montgomery, Texas.
Can I say something real quick? Couple of things. Could you please provide the recordings that you have and share them with us? That would be
You want to
great.
listen to 15 minutes of it? Right?
Yeah, or just can you email it, or yeah, if you'd like, or and who told you that they just don't want you to have the trailer? I got lost in that story.
You told me that they didn't want to do it?
Yes, somebody from the city who
Your
did.
assistant administrator.
David Corfidel. Okay. And thirdly, hold on just a second.
But when you, I want to answer your question, can I provide that?
The recording, yes.
Since the city's already sent me a document basically pommeling me in my business adventure, and my attorney has already sent a letter of correspondence back that has been unanswered as of yet today, because the city council did not respond. Listen, I understand where we're at, and it's all right here, and I could be more, but why go this far, folks? It does not need to go this far. City council members have already said, Bill, what are we even talking about? So you were already approved.
So, Mr. Clevenger, we're here to talk about the ordinance tonight, not your specific business. And I just want to make sure that you understand that it's the ordinance that's the business and not voting on that or your business.
Then why the letter?
That's a separate business. Tonight, for city business, we're talking about the ordinance and amending the ordinance. Yes, sir. That's what's on the agenda.
Why did you send the letter?
I didn't send you a letter.
I know you personally, respectfully. I know you didn't personally. But 3 of your council members didn't even know this letter existed. That's on record. 3 of them did not know. So who instructed this gentleman to send a letter to me, basically telling me my business is done on my property?
I'd have to ask Richard Tram that question.
Sir?
That came from staff. Are you done with your comments?
No, because
Hold on. We're here to talk about the ordinance, so we're not here to talk about your specific ordinance. Well, no, this is city business. Excuse me. If you would like to say something, you can go ahead and step outside. We are conducting city businesses, and this is about the ordinance, not a particular business in the city. So, pardon me. I'll let you have about 30 minutes. Okay. Well, come on. I'm going to speak. So. We are here to talk about the ordinance. We're not here to grandstand or talk about your particular business. Now, and there were things, you stated that you had a recording. We would like to have a copy of that recording, please.
And it will go through my council.
Perfect, that's great. As long as we can get it. That's fine. Or if you want to play it now, whichever, but that would be great.
Okay.
Is it one recording or is it a number of recordings?
It's numerous.
Okay, can we have a copy of all of them?
Through the council.
Sure.
But hold on a second. It goes back to the thing. If you pass the ordinance tonight, you destroy my business. That's right.
No, sir, you're incorrect on that.
Why the letter?
You're not.
Why the letter?
No, you're not understanding. Tonight, hold on, pardon me. If we approve it or we don't approve it, you still have to get a special use permit.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Use permit is not there. It's not in the code. You're trying to enact
Yes, it is. Alan, go ahead. I'm going to defer to our attorney.
Enact it today.
No, sir.
sir.
Yes.
Hey, Alan, real quick. Alan, since it's being put on your, like it's your fault all of a sudden, by the way, throughout the conversation today, would you mind explaining to us?
So two things. One, you're correct that in amending chapter 64, we're including the reference to the specific use permit. But not because it doesn't exist. It already exists in chapter 98. And in the zoning code, under 9888, you go through the table, you don't have a listing, you have but you don't have a listing for mobile food.
But we don't have a not listed either.
That's right.
And that's exactly right. But if you go down to item B, under the table, it says that if there is no listing, then a specific use permit is required.
And at that time, then why from November till now has it not? Because it has become a reality, folks.
No, sir, so hold on just a moment, because if you go back and look at what you were approved for, and Richard, you may want to speak on this, but if you go back, P&Z approved the trailer, the artwork on the trailer. That is what it was, that's what was in front of P&Z. Richard? It is. You got it approved, you got a variance. It's your signage, it was signage.
That's the word that I'll say.
Yes, right, that's right, it's signage.
Yes, what P&Z approved, included the signage, it included the layout of the property.
Yes.
What was provided by Mr. Clevenger was a singular trailer, several tables, the trailer, and it listed on the drawing you provided that would be an ice cream truck. When you brought in, or let someone else bring in, the coffee trailer that was operating, that was another item that was not what P&Z approved. And to get to a question you asked earlier, that meant that staff reviewed that item because that was not what P&Z approved, discussed with the city attorney, what the proper steps would be. Because now, instead of having a single trailer on the property, you've got two trailers.
Okay.
You've got one that's an ice cream trailer that back in November, we've been working with you and asking about getting permitted, that as of that point, as of now, still is not permitted. You said, and as we discussed back in May 18th, is the date you provided, if you had provided that on that day, we would have processed it and gotten it to you quickly.
What's changed?
What's the difference?
Okay.
I did not interrupt you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
As staff had a discussion, now that a new trailer has been brought to the property, one that was not approved by P&Z or reviewed by P&Z, and the owner of that property, the owner of the trailer is expecting that it will stay there permanently, not operate as a mobile vendor where it comes in the morning and goes out in the evening, or depending on what its hours are, but expects to stay there permanently. It's currently as a mobile unit, but intends to operate as a permanent structure.
Okay.
That is what caused the staff discussion with the city attorney's office. That is what led the city attorney identifying, the correct operation for staff at that point, or previously, was a special use permit with the need. That was something staff did not catch previously, which is why it was not mentioned previously. So that's a mistake on staff, yes, and I apologize for that, but it's something that the attorney identified after that secondary truck came out, and that is what generated that letter.
Okay.
The item that was in violation was not the non-operational ice cream trailer, it was the coffee trailer.
So then, sir, if you had this discussion, and the city council had this discussion, and you guys got your ducks in a row to prove that I'm wrong, why would we list an ice cream trailer in this letter? Certified, sent to me. You sent it to me saying I can't operate my ice cream trailer on my property. Never once mentioned about a coffee stand, a coffee truck. Now, lo and behold, Mr. Cortendale worked with Kate and his wife to open this up and present it to P&Z. And when they started to go through the proper motions, somehow just got yanked from the P&Z agenda. Because did we know that this letter was going to come out? But yet, 3 of the city 65 didn't even know this letter was going to be generated. But reference you again, if you're saying that it was all over the coffee trailer, then why are you telling me, because you just sat here and said it had nothing to do with this ice cream trailer. Nothing to do with the fact of me opening up that ice cream trailer that I've already been approved for. And now, right here in front of everybody, you say it had to do with the coffee trailer. Why isn't it in the letter?
You know, you say that you've been approved for the ice cream trailer, but you were approved for a variance to not have to plat the property. A variance to not plat the property does not mean you can just conduct business. And if the
So why didn't you answer our attorney today? Why wasn't our attorney answered today?
I didn't have time today.
Oh.
And so here we are, and it's going to be public record unless the city council steps up and does the right thing. Says, look, hey, mistakes happen, but you set the precedent, and we all agreed through Zoom meetings and documented conversations and everything. You did it the way the county wanted it, the city follows it, and here we go. So we can sit here and say on and on and on, well, we're not talking about your specific business. Well, we are talking about the specific business because if you enact or amend or you enact an ordinance right now, today, after the fact, then you're putting me out of business. So we are talking about this right here, right now. You sent the letter. Now your city administrator says, it had nothing to do with your ice cream trailer. It had everything to do with Wilbur Love Coffee that, by golly, is an absolute gem to this community. But yet, at the same they went to follow, and I supported it. I mean, the cause that they wanted to do, the cause that they're bringing to this community, and we went through the proper motions that I was instructed to do back in November, and we started down that path, and even P&Z board members are like, I love the coffee. I want the coffee. Kate, did you see me talking to one of the P&Z members the other day? The person said, man, I can't wait to see it come. Let's get it done. Let's get it over with. And let's get it on. But yet, yanked from the agenda. Just, Kate, you were informed. You don't have to attend.
Yeah, also, my wife has been raising her hand.
Right, we're here to talk about the ordinance, guys. This is this business at hand. Please. I know, but I'm trying to get over this. Guys, we are trying to conduct city business here. It is about the ordinance. If we're going to get rowdy and everybody feels like they can, then you can please be removed. Who said that? Please be removed. Chief?
I said it, and I'm not leaving. No, I don't. No, I don't.
You're gonna, Chief, hey, Colton, the truck is up, the best of the truck. Best of the truck.
Guys, we're here to talk about the ordinance. We're not here to talk about this business.
That's right.
That's not an outside.
Excuse me, we're conducting business. And I gave Mr. Clevenger the floor, and we have the floor, sir. You don't have the floor.
Okay, he was all, I would like to say something.
So let's go ahead.
I'd like to say, thank you, Bill. Thank you. Now, here's what I'd like to say. First of all, I am aware that there are a couple of city councilmen on this up here that I've spoken with who said flat out, no matter who it is, they don't want a food truck in downtown Montgomery. I've said to these council members that it's not about what you want, it's what the voters want. The voters want food trucks. They want revenue. Food trucks has been proven by Conroe to bring in revenue. They come downtown, they get a coffee, they get ice cream, they shop. They walk around, that's what they do. We've got a lot of really cool things for families. We've got, the movie nights, we've got different things like that. There's nothing wrong with expanding our horizons a little bit. I think that it's rather small-minded to think that we're going to be against something just because we personally don't like it. It's not our job to like it or not. We're city council. We do what you want. That's what this is about.
Thank you.
Item number 6, Item number 6 on this agenda has everything to do with putting another roadblock in front of you. I've had conversations with Richard and Dave and everyone else, and the story has changed 10,000 times, just so we're aware. Okay? We've gone from blaming Dave for the mistake to talking to the media earlier and blaming Alan for the mistake, saying he sent the letter to the wrong person. Take some accountability, guys. Stand up. We didn't put roadblocks in front of this man for almost a year. He spent over $200,000. Do what we need to do to make it right, period. This item needs to be taken off and, I think, postponed to another meeting till we make something right with him first. That's my opinion. I don't even think it's worth arguing about, and I'm not going to argue about it. It's just, we know that there are people in downtown that are against Bill Clevenger for many political reasons as well, too. You know, Bill, for example, who's your primary competition in Montgomery, do you think? Who might be?
Honestly, I would see that it would be.
There's none. So what's the problem?
Complimenting the town and businesses. In fact,
No, you can open, you just have to get a special use permit, that's all that.
required that kind
Oh
of
my
letter.
gosh.
I didn't need it, it wasn't voiced, it's never been.
Yes.
Sit here and say that it was
Yes.
signed in your own.
Okay,
So if you
letter.
listen to those recordings, we'll see if the special use permit was
That's not how it
discussed.
works.
But if what you're trying to use the property for is not designated already, you have to have a special use permit. That we've done that for all other properties. We do this for everyone. You're not singled out,
I
sir.
am absolutely singled out, but Madam Mayor, I want to point something out to you. To get involved in that, your attorney instructed by staff. Mr. Tram is not going to go out on his own. Okay? He's not going to go out on his own and instruct this gentleman to send a letter of this magnitude to basically tell me I'm $200,000 right out the window. He was instructed by somebody. 3 of your city council, a majority of your city council members did not even know this letter existed or the thought of it. So somebody instructed him to do this letter, and it was sent out. Whether it was sent out in wrongness, rightness, whatever, it was sent out, and it's basically telling me that you're in violation of a code that does not even exist. My counsel represented me, sent the letter, responded to this gentleman. He didn't do it. The only reason why he didn't do it is because he's under the contract and the duty of the city council. Somebody instructed him not to get back with my attorney, and here we are. And to get those recordings, this is what's going to happen, folks. We would have, you vote on that this evening, you're going to dash my money and my investment, my time, these people's ice cream cones and beyond, and we're going to enter into a lawsuit. And this is, now think about this for a second. The majority of the community wants this ice cream stand to open up. This gentleman just said that it has nothing to do about the ice cream stand. But the majority of the community wants this ice cream stand. The city council is going to go out on their own, or members of it, and basically put the city into a lawsuit. Guess who pays for that lawsuit, folks? Y'all do. All of us. Our taxpayers' money. And guess what? Just even going back and forth with the attorneys, he's billing. This shouldn't even be done. It's already been accomplished. It's already been approved. And so here we are. The majority of the community wants the ice cream stand. The city is going to fight me and enter into a lawsuit that I have to protect my investment and turn around and fight the exact same thing that they want. Now that's lunacy, folks. So yes, I implore you folks, respectfully, on the city council, it was approved. It's done. I'm within weeks of opening. I'm in weeks of opening up an ice cream stand that I have employees. Yes, sir.
Bill, I guess I'm going to walk back through this.
Yes, sir.
August, you purchased the lot, right?
Yes, sir.
And you went to planning and zoning?
Yes, sir.
And you told them it was a whole deal of wax.
Yes, sir.
They didn't have any issue.
Correct.
And it came to city council.
Yes, sir.
And we approved.
It never came to city council.
It never came?
Yes.
We approved
it. It did.
The city council approved the waiver.
Some something in there we
I
missed.
know, right. And we approved the signage, and then there were the drawing that was submitted.
What do we think the signage
That's
was
what
for?
P and Z approved, yes.
And the signage.
Everybody has to approve signs
Okay,
in town.
okay.
You know that. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So they say we approved, the council approved the variance. And in no permit, if the electrical and the water and all of that, it states what it is, right? That you're just not getting an electrical permit for.
I did get the electrical.
You got the.
I got the electrical permit to put the service. Between Dave and I, he said, your electrician didn't pull the actual full permit to run the wire from the pole over to the little stuff. And I said, okay, and he said, and Dave, am I right? He said, listen, just come in, pull the electrical permit for that. Did my electrician do it today? He did. Okay, he did. He said, just leave 2 openings in the line, the dirt line, so that they can inspect it, and they're going to inspect the breaker box. And
did you have to get a water permit?
I did not get the water.
We gave them that variance.
Okay.
Okay, you gave me the variance for it.
Okay.
And we kept going through and through, and in the conversation, and then, let me just, for a second, back up here, okay? In the conversation, in the meeting on May 18th, I expressed vividly and truthfully. You go to engineering firms, and they're looking at you like, why are we messing with this? This is a plumbing issue. I go to the plumbing, and they're like, well, here, this is what it is. And Dave, you just kept saying sketch, right? Just get the measurements, do this. But we kept going back and forth. And Mr. Tran, you even said, listen, you're kind of like in the wall. You know, one wants this, one wants that. But what does the county say? And I provided what the county said. And then we went through and we met the county. I'm right here holding up the approval of the county. The county supersedes the city in this instant. And I did what the county wanted. And the city administrator, the assistant city administrator who I've been working with the whole time, you're good to go. Just bring us in that approval and we will sign it. Now, granted, coffee trailer came. I get that. But we were going through the proper motions. I'm in awe. Dave, I don't know if I told you, I think I have. I said, man, I'm impressed. I mean, the man does great detail. I mean, he sits there, he breaks it all out, he lays, I mean, I can even, draw a stick figure. He's sitting there laying it all out in measurements. He puts the picnic tables. I mean, he does it all. It's great. And he's an asset to the city. And he lays it all out for me. And that's what's approved. I mean, all that information was laid out in November in front of P&Z and the city council. And it was all approved, showing where my trailer was.
Is your trailer, is it going to be it's going to be stationary?
It's going to be fixed. Everybody agreed with that.
Okay, just for clarification, because I pulled up meeting minutes, because I'm going to do it. So November 10th was the meeting. It's under section 78-3. The only thing that City Council approved is a request to waive the platting requirement for a property to receive water and sanitary sewer service for Texas Twist and Shakes LLC, located at the northeast corner of Caroline and Liberty Street. So that's the only thing we waived is platting requirements for water and sewer. That's the only thing that's ever come before City Council of what I can find documented.
Right, but at the all same token, from the get-go, I've submitted everything that, listen, when you go to start out, you don't go straight to city council, they direct you to go to P&Z. Get P&Z to approve it, and then there it is. And then they say, hey, is P&Z, are you outside of the zone here? Is this something completely off the wall? It's always subject to city council. And nothing came up. Nothing was raised. No red flags were done. And here we go. I didn't alter.
Just for one more clarification's sake, too. Richard mentioned that nobody from City Hall on staff looked at the law. That's current law, not what we're talking about amending tonight. Nobody looked at it and apologized and took ownership. That is their fault. They did not look at it. But if you pull up the city law, which is available on the city website right now under section 9888, like Alan's quoting, If you scroll through all the permitted uses, you're right, there's not an ice cream trailer there. But when you scroll down to B, it very specifically states, if I scroll through 150 or whatever actual ones that are listed, any use not specifically permitted in this table or in the use regulations of each district set out below shall require a special use permit after the approval by city council. So, one, we have to approve it, and two, it's still going to require a special use permit no matter what changes here, because that's what's in the law, and because they went back and looked at it, now we all know it and we can't ignore it.
So have you all seen our letter from our attorney?
I haven't seen anything from your attorney.
Well, we've got city business, we're not here to satisfy this tonight, so I would do the ordinance, and that's, we can't even vote on it, because we have to vote on the ordinance and nothing else. So the ordinance, no, sir, this ordinance is not about one particular business, this ordinance is very general for the city business. Can we proceed, or do we need to take 5?
Listen, right here, do I have the floor to at least?
No, point of order, no, sir, we've already exhausted this is about the ordinance. Alan?
The council approved the variance for the electricity, blah, blah, blah. You did that. Which is what we.
That does not go to council.
That doesn't go to council. We don't approve electricity.
But Councilwoman, Davis read was the only item that was approved by council. She read that.
Okay, and we have money in that, which is what our attorney sent to you all, as to how much money we have in that. And since you guys approved that, so then we're just gonna have to see all the work.
So what we're going to do, we're going to wrap things up now, I think. What we're going to do, and here's the
We're
thing.
gonna need our money back, which is around $60,000.
So this is a $60,000 mistake on the city. So here it is. We will have to enter into a lawsuit, and it's documented by my attorney, and it came to this attorney that went unanswered.
What I would like to propose, if you don't mind, what I really would love to propose is that, to Julie's point, that's what was approved, that's right, exactly what the meeting minutes are, right? I think that when a customer, right, or a business owner or city comes to us for guidance, I think the responsibility is on us to make sure that they know everything.
Who's us, the city or the city council?
The city.
Okay, so that's the city.
That's right. Right, that's what they're hired for, that's what they're paid for. And if they missed something that was a huge thing, it was an admitted mistake per our letter to Bill, it's almost where you gotta man up and do the right thing. We screwed up, Bill, but here's what we're gonna do for you to make it right. Going forward, we've got some things we've got to take care of, and we've got to revise some city ordinances to make sure this doesn't ever happen again.
So let's do that's what we're going to do.
What I'm doing, looking at the number 6 on the agenda, it does impact the future approvals of what Bill's attempting to do. So I'm going to ask that we table this to the next meeting. I think we need to talk about this with our attorney. I think we need to make sure that it's being fair to Bill, to all future food truck and all small businesses coming to Montgomery. I think that right now we're maybe emotional a little bit. I think that we all need to talk about it and make things right. We made the mistake as a city. I say council too because we hired him, right? You all work with us, work at Liberty Council, right? So I think that we're just as responsible as they are. Okay, now if they didn't know no things, I'm upset as a city councilman, but I didn't know that he was getting a letter. I think I should know these things. Now, are you obligated to tell me everything? No, I need to find out what it exactly is, but I'm very upset that we know the current political climate in this town, and we know who we're dealing with. We know that what's been going on for 9 months. To sit there and say that we just approved the sign, well, guess what? Bill, I'd like to approve the sign holder as well. I think it needs power. Go ahead and throw some ice cream out the door, okay? I don't see a problem with that. So I think we need to talk about this and table this for the next meeting. I mean, do you guys agree or disagree or move forward? I don't want to vote on this today.
I would second that. As I talked to Bill, a few days ago, and shared with him also, the old saying that everyone's perception is 100% the reality. And there's just so much that Bill obviously thought. And then there's so much that city management thought. And I want to say this to the coffee owner, God's got you. You're going to be fine. No matter how this happens, you're going to be fine. You have plenty of people who will help you. So with that said, I did have conversations. My business cards just came in 10 days ago. So I'm completely trying to catch up on this stuff. Everybody's got opinions about aesthetics. You just do. Everybody's got opinions about district stuff. Everybody's got strong feelings about what happened 50 and 25 and 10 years ago when I wasn't even here. I spent 22 years in Sour Lake, though. And we had us a nice little town square. Yeah. And it took forever to get a handful of people who were wealthy who didn't want to see us grow till we finally got a Sonic. Praise Jesus. We got a Sonic.
I'm still praying for mine.
Yeah, we need Sonic and a Hearts of Chicken. But anyway, so yeah, lots of prayer and lots of things, and I appreciate, some of my brothers and sisters with your prayer. I know you were with me on this because this has been a little nerve-wracking for all of us. So Kevin, I concur that, emotions are high. I will say that, I've been consistent with the idea that we want everybody to succeed. But when I have business owners that I'm handing cards to who own brick and mortar, and they're fighting the Amazon age and the Walmart delivery age, I got a passion for them as well. And whatever we do going forward, Bill, you talk about a lawsuit, I Googled it. Just go home tonight and Google it. All over the country, what do you get? The same thing. Food truck versus, we're a 4-block by 2-block historic district, y'all. We are very small. And I don't want to take, I'm not saying literally, I don't want to take a bulldozer to these people that sacrificed and knock the darn buildings down and kill their dreams either. And if I'm not mistaken, city management, don't we have a food truck on we've got one permitted. And I'm going to tell you straight up, right over here in Hills of Town Creek, if I had the capital, brother, I'd be up there because I got 70 to 80 people all up and down Brock's Lanes and Scenic Hills for the past 3 months, building, inspecting, and going by there. And I'm in the HOA. I would have pulled right for you. Let him line up there for an hour or two. You see where I'm going with this? There is a mobile element when you put wheels on. There just is, y'all. And they play by a set of rules that Tomball has this, what did I write for Tomball? I wrote it down somewhere. All right, Tomball has this thing, if you're mobile, they have restrictions that you can stay for 4 hours in a spot, but you have to move 100 yards after those 4 yards to meet the qualifications of mobile. Well, again, mobile is a good...
Yeah, Tomball also has an establishment called 403 Eats that's owned by the mayor, and it's a food truck park. And I'm not trying to create a food truck park.
But I think that Dave, from a conversation from him, had some, he was envisioning one, and then in the last 10 days, the coffee truck, and now, and that may have given rise to the, we got to do the letter thing, which again, I didn't see either, but that's neither here nor there. But there's a whole lot of mistakes made. There just is.
Right.
Okay?
But the thing about it is I'm not trying to create it. I didn't do anything. They came to me by way of another city business owner, 2 city business owners in the community. And I think we all agree what a story it is and what they've done. I agree with your brick and mortar. I totally agree with that. The city of Conroe, their mayor is championing and jumping from the rooftops saying, we got a food truck park, Conroe. It's in our historic district, and it's going to help our brick and mortar stores.
It's actually right outside.
And if we get back to it, my trailer, just as Courtney said, I'm bringing something that complements the entire town. You and I had a great conversation for an hour and a half, and we talked about different things. I'm not here. You and I both shared. I guarantee you it's hard, and it would be frustrating to sit in those antique shops and pray and hope that somebody walks through that door. I own another business in Pennsylvania, and trust me, it's a godsend every time that door opens up, and I respect that. But folks, I was approved for it, and I'm going to be here to complement the entire city. We need to create an energy for this city. We need to have people coming to the city. They have to come first. And then when they feel comfortable and they stop, and in one of your sections in the amendment that you want to go, you want to say 7 o'clock. And I provided this analogy with Mr. Wilkerson and many other ones. Everybody knows, here, perfect example. We're going to lower the speed limit on 105. Let's say some individual works in research in Woodlands, and they live out here in the Town Hills development. They're a good hour right now. Now we're going to bottle them up even more, down to the 45 zone, all the way through this construction. There we are. By the time this person gets home, it's 6, it's 6:15, it's 6:30. We live in Texas. Man, it's hot. So they get around, they get their clothes off, they change, they say, hey, the wife and the husband, hey, I want to go into town, I want to stroll around, I want to see what's going on, this and that. And in your ordinances right now, you want to pass that my estate, and it would be my establishment, has to close at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock in Texas in the evening? Come on, that's not even realistic.
Okay,
People start to stroll.
I think we got so much they want to do.
I think we got a motion, and I've seconded it, but let me just say, there's procedural things, legal things, and then you throw in a heavy dose of emotions. And I just think I think we can do better, and we need to do better going forward. But this is complex, folks. Just go Google it. It's a complex deal, because I don't think, let me give you the good note. When I look at the revitalization that's about to happen somewhere here, in town, and the lighting and the shrubs and everything else, y'all, they're going to come for that. You talk about some good rendition, you need to go Google it, because there's some good things about to happen, and that traffic is going to come, okay? So I'm with you.
We have to support our residents, though.
Yeah.
Our own residents and our own small businesses.
And City Administrator Trump even said that revitalization is going to help my establishment.
Absolutely. That's right. Absolutely.
So let me ask you one last time. So here I am, and the city, and everybody's talked about this and that. We talk about special use and everything, but can we approve my mobile vendor permit?
It's not on the agenda, sir.
We just put it
It
on the
cannot-
agenda later.
Yeah, we cannot do that tonight. It's not on the agenda.
So then I can come in tomorrow?
You can after the, is it running away right after the meeting? We could do it as soon as we're finished with the city council meeting. We could wrap that up probably, right?
Yeah.
Can I just submit it to you right now? After the meeting?
After the meeting, yeah, we got to continue that business after the meeting, yeah.
You're assuming that the permits come in, they just get stamped and signed. The city secretary has a duty to check that all the details are there, which includes verifying insurance and things like
And
that.
I have it all
We'll get it done first thing in the morning to go, okay?
Verify.
First thing in the morning. All right.
That's fine.
We got to stop with the conspiracy.
That's fine.
They're outrageous.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, I'm sorry. Keep Councilmember Sanford.
So did you make
There
a
is a
motion?
second.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor, and the motion is to table item number 6 on your agenda. This motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and we will table item number 6 on the agenda. Next item on the agenda is executive session. The City Council reserves the right to discuss any of the items listed specifically under this heading, or for any items listed above in executive closed session as permitted by law, including if they meet the qualifications in section 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, 551.073, deliberation regarding gifts, 551.074, personnel matters, 551.076, deliberation regarding security devices, and 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations of Chapter 551 of the Economic Code of the State of Texas. There are no items at this time. Is there anything for council inquiry? Anything for council inquiry?
Yeah, so Richard,
We still have a meeting going on. Go ahead.
so
So I know I sent you an email before you went to vacation. There's 5 lights out at Cedar Break Park near the bathroom. They were still out as of Sunday night. I did make sure and stop and tell Tim Bauer, Officer Bauer, and he made sure he'd do a work order. But also the sink at the bathroom at the community center in the women's restroom was on the floor on Sunday night. So it was non-functional when we had movie in the park. So it was a little...
You're talking about the restroom that's outside?
Yeah, in the yellow, yeah. So I just want to make sure that there's a follow-up to both of those because I just feel like aesthetically, if we're going to do an event there, that we should make sure that we have maintenance, do a walkthrough and check those things.
I'll speak to Public Works about that in the morning and then also ask them that when we do have something there, like the movie night, that it be checked ahead of the event.
Perfect. Thank you.
And thanks for letting me know.
Thank you, Julie.
Real quick, thank you all.
Thank you.
I'd like to move to adjourn.
I second. It is a move to second that we adjourn this meeting. This motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. The ayes have it, the motion carries. It is 7:50.